Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. By the way, you brought up Lindsey Graham, and we were like, man, even for Lindsey Graham, that was like in record time, him flip-flopping on Pete what's his name?
Hegseth.
Hegseth. I mean, he knows this. This guy is so. Somebody, at least was it Rubin was talking about as a lawyer himself. Graham knows he is using a faulty defense. He said to discount serious allegations against Pete Hegseth simply because the sources were granted anonymity is misguided. And of course, at least one of the anonymous people featured in reporting about Hegseth isn't anonymous to Hegseth. The Jane Doe who's accused him of rape, with whom he signed an agreement. He and his lawyer are well aware of their identity, and not to mention they put her under an NDA. And then they're like, oh, well, if she won't come forward, then, it doesn't count. You're like, how? I mean, this is the, catch-22 they think we're dumb enough to fall for, right?
The funny thing is, Lindsey Graham was the lawyer when he was in the Air Force.
Advocate General,
okay?
Yeah.
And the first question anyone in the armed forces has to ask themselves is, do you have confidence in an officer who is already found by his peers to be a known abuser of alcohol and women? Mm-hmm. You don't want anyone. There are people, granted, there have been secretaries of defense who were alcoholics, and they all went to AA, and they kept their fingers away from the trigger. But this guy isn't even qualified to command a company-level infantry unit anymore. He is a pundit on television. To put him under control of 3 million people and 4,500 atomic bombs, this man would turn the trigger if Donald Trump said nuke something. Because he is a psychopath.
Yeah.
And he should be nowhere even near the nomination.
I know.
He's
somebody
not
tweeted
to be in the Pentagon working at the Dunkin' Donuts.
Somebody tweeted, I'll stop drinking if you give me the nuclear codes is the most alcoholic thing ever.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, and then he's got to get his
mommy
to come in and vouch for babykins to make sure that, you understand that he's not naughty with women. What is going on here with these nominees? They're just the worst in history.
The reporting this morning, Malcolm, is Trump is shaken by recent reports about Hegseth. This is why zero vetting, right? I mean, the first place he didn't tell them any of this, and they didn't do any vetting to know any of this. Trump is not yet personally pushing hard for his selections, limiting his exposure if they withdraw or fail to win confirmation. And so, there's reporting about how, because of Trump's brother dying of alcoholism, that's like a big thing with him, the drinking. I mean, and by the way, that joke David Frum made about, if you look on air, being drunk on Fox is you're very drunk indeed. Would you like to go under oath and tell me that Judge Jeanine or Larry Kudlow or Rudy Giuliani have never been blasted on Fox News?
Right.
That joke was funny because it's true.
Right.
That man drank on television. There were scenes where he was drinking whiskey. They were all drinking, and these weren't little sippy cup shots. Okay, these people were taking 3 fingers of whiskey on television.
Right.
And to say, this guy was a major in the National Guard in the Army. He's not a general. He didn't work his way up to the management of $500 billion of the most lethal weaponry on the planet because he hangs out on television, because he abuses women, he abuses alcohol. Not one person in the armed forces will accept his orders as lawful orders.
Yeah.
If that man gets even remotely near the job. And you're going to replace a 4-star general with reams of combat experience, personnel experience, management experience, budget experience, and diplomatic experience with a freaking soldier who can't even maintain it in the National Guard, all right, in a not even mid-level, lower-level career job because he looks good on Fox.
I know.
When he's drinking?
Well,
God, this is just a nightmare
and
that could only be superseded by Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, and the headlines this morning, Trump insiders frantic he's being neutered by GOP senators after Gates failed, and, it looks like Hegseth very well may. There's growing fear Trump is getting pushed around by Republican senators.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why he's doubling down on Hegseth, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's getting neutered by reality.
Thank you.
This has nothing to do with GOP senators. Okay, what he wants is he expects the Republicans to be a bunch of dancing psychopaths who just agree and laugh at everything. He thinks that this is Apprentice Atomic Bomb Edition. Okay? This is not a joke. Okay? I normally have good time on here. This is not a joke. We're talking
That was
about
still
the
funny, though.
control of atomic weapons.
Right.
And this isn't something we should be laughing about. This is something every one of us should be outraged about.
Yeah.
And why, you know what, Democratic Party, they're going to object politely and maybe write a bad letter. People should be screaming over this to say, go find yourself some ex-senator or ex-Lockheed Martin executive who knows how to handle money and bombs and put him in the job.
Not just bad.
Guy.
A very strongly worded letter, Malcolm. Strongly worded.
This guy would probably nuke Kyiv if Donald Trump ordered him to do it.
Would.
Okay?
I mean, I have to hope that part of them,
are bad.
right, part of this clown show that we're already seeing is that, their incompetence and stupidity is going to impede them more than anything. FBI Director nominee Kash Patel has openly boasted of plans to use the government to exact revenge on Trump's political enemies. He was one guy that was at DHS in the George W. Bush administration said Patel may have already blown up his own plans to go after Trump critics simply by talking about them in the open. He wrote it down in his book. He notes criminal defendants are afforded significant protections from prosecution if they have evidence they are victims of a vindictive prosecution. They wrote it all down. Right? He said it. Pam Bondi's on tape. Project 2025 is written down.
And FBI officers, have to follow the orders of the Constitution as well. Mm-hmm. And if they have somebody who is already presupposed and verbalized criminal intent to violate the Constitution of the United States, they are under an obligation to not obey that person. They are under an obligation to determine, quite possibly independently, if he is a criminal who is planning on using the U.S. laws and law enforcement for criminal purposes, which means he could wake up one morning and find out that there are audio recordings done by FBI officer agents whose job it is to determine internal criminality at the Bureau. But what do we care? Because this is another one of the clown show candidates that they put up there. Yep. This is a guy who was out there posing as a leather bear daddy boot model.
Right. I didn't think that picture was real. Oh my God.
It's real. It was a real advertisement.
That's the gayest thing I've ever seen. Okay. I'm here with the incredibly handsome Dr. David Silverman to talk about ASEA Renew that I'm holding in my hand. This stuff is amazing. Revitalizing Redox Gel. You hold up, you have you can it comes in drink form, and this is the gel form. I love, first of all, that supermodel Carol Alt will be promoting this. She's taken so many jobs from me, so I am so happy.
Just to give some context, because I have to tell you that this is very unique. This is not, it's not a pharmaceutical, it's not a nutritional product. It's something that our cells make. It's called redox signaling molecules. But bottom line is, our cells make redox signaling molecules. Your body makes it right now, but we all made more of it when we were younger. What's in this bottle is in you, it's in me, right? But I'll be 64 in 2 weeks, and I feel like I'm 30 years old. I've been drinking this for 13 years.
Wow. Doc, what a thrill to meet you and to hear more about this, because, it's you just kind of go, oh, it works, but to hear about the why is fascinating to me. Dr. David Silverman, what a joy and a pleasure, and thank you so much.